Okay, now we're going to do step 2. So step 1 was to carve a wax that we could use for sand casting. I've used the blue carving wax. Okay, so the first thing we do is we take this side that has the grooves in it. That goes down. I'm going to put my sand in there. So you want to pack that in really good. This will work with the Delft clay, the Petrobond, or even what I kind of like to use is a mixture of the two. This is a mixture of the two. Okay, so now once we get that, you want to put talc on here because we don't want the wax to stick to that. Okay, so I would, in casting this, I would put it so that the sprue is going to go into the biggest part first. That way the most metal will be close to the sprue and it should fill up without any problem. So pushing this in, it's pretty sturdy, but you still want to be a little bit careful. Pushing mostly on the wide parts. Okay, so that's really good. So now you want to line up the square part here and keep it lined up. Now we're going to put more talc. You want to pack this really good around that wax. Because the tighter the sand is packed together, the better chance you're going to have at removing the wax from the sand. Okay, at this point, and you want to look here and see if this turned a little bit. And it's about 1 millimeter off of being flush. So we're going to remember that when we put this back together. So we're going to set it down, we're going to pull it straight apart. There, we got a great impression. So we're going to start with that one. And so we need to cut a sprue that connects to that ring. And I like to use this paintbrush. It gives me about the size of sprue I need, which is about 5 millimeter, maybe 4. Then we're going to cut our funnel, and you want the funnel to be nice and deep. You want the metal to go down and go right down the sprue. Now if you're using Petrobond, you don't need to add any kind of vents, but with Delft you definitely need to. And with the combination, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, but I'm just going to do it anyways, because then I can show you how it's done. And it doesn't need to be a big channel. Just the tip of the knife works just fine. The only thing that needs to go through there are the gases and the air buildup. So this half is done. It's got the nice texture in there. I think this is going to be a great cast. So now we have this one. I like to kind of take a knife right where the sprue is going to go and work on that to kind of free that up. If I weren't doing a video, I would take my time and this would come out perfect. It's going to be pretty close. I think I can, maybe not. Let's see. It's really close. This is why I like the patterns, because they have the post right on there. The sprue makes it easier to take them out. Come on. There. Got that out. So now we want to take, we got to have our sprue, so push the sand down just like that. We got to find our knife here. Cut a nice deep funnel. Just like that. Okay, so that's it for that part. So now we need to do our pouring the metal. We're going to use 1.5 ounces of sterling silver. Now if you remember, this was off a tiny bit. So we're going to look at where the piece is. And we're going to put this together with about 1 millimeter apart. There we go. You want to look down in here and make sure there's no sand granules that the metal could push down into your cavity. And it looks pretty good. Okay, the next thing, get our torch going. Now I made a little mistake here. I forgot to change the tip. So I'm going to really quickly change it. Okay, that didn't take that long. Now because these are big buttons, it's going to take a little longer to melt. So if you have trouble melting a lot of metal, if you can roll it out or have pieces that are smaller, you'll melt it faster. Just seems to take longer to do a big mass. I like to tip it back and forth. When it's really close to being molten, put a little borax on there, heat up the tip, move it around, make sure it's liquid all the way through. Just dump it in. Okay, we'll wait a second. I got a fan here. I'm going to turn the fan. Keep that out of my face. Okay, that looks great. This was step 2. I'll clean it up, I'll take a picture, and then we'll work on finishing it. All right. That's it. Thank you.